Faceminer is an indie game where you're tasked with starting a mining empire from scratch, where you harvest biometric data and feed an AI while expanding your business until the ends of the earth, as you get richer and richer. It's a pretty good setup for a game that tries to deal with the problem of AI head-on and initiate a mature discussion and critique. I don't want to spoil the game's ending, so I won't go into a lot of details on its themes and goals, because I do think you should still be the one uncovering the mysteries of Faceminer. The game employs emails and documents to clue you into the story and what is happening around this mischievous employer of yours, while you perform even more nefarious ways of generating profit from the software. All of this is set to the backdrop of pre-Y2K techno-optimism. That makes this a pretty interesting game that called to me for a specific story and nostalgic vibe. And so I really like the art, the UI, and the overall design of the game. It was impeccably well made, with such accuracy and faithfulness to the era that I even got a bit confused. I need to sing praise here because it really didn't feel like a game and more like a virtual machine running a real OS that was somehow cursed with the possibility of generating loads of money. That, to be honest, I would love to have in real life, but, well. Another aspect that I really liked from the game was the soundtrack. It hit perfectly that Y2K vibe from old Windows. It felt like those songs came out of a prepackaged install that turned out to be absolute bangers. It really nailed the vibe, feel, and look of retro Y2K OS. And while on the topic of retro, I am a huge fan of Emily's Away series, and this kind of seemed it would follow the same style of storytelling, and I also thought that maybe there could be some inspiration from her story. But this ended up being a very different game, with no dialogue choices. Even though most of the storytelling is made through emails, the game doesn't employ a clear and direct way for you to influence the path or the ending of your game. So this leads me to talk a little bit about the things I didn't like so much about the game. So although this has a very interesting premise and ends up making a bold statement, the story is not that groundbreaking and is delivered through a very slow and unsatisfying way. I had a little bit of a gripe with the fact that most of the story and dialogue is being told through an email service, because you are never able to directly respond or make a decision with the system. It's really a shame because I thought that this could have been a nice way to present a player with some direct choice over the story, and not only your actions through the software that impact the ending. Something that made it even worse was that a few emails directly say, "Please reply to this email," or had questions directed at you. So I was always looking for ways to directly interact with these actors, with these people, but I couldn't find any. Mind you that text-based games have been around since the 80s, so I don't think it would be a very hard thing to implement, but of course I respect the creative vision of the developer behind the game. Now, onto the subject of gameplay. The game is quite addictive at first. There is plenty to do, from clicking through faces to upgrading your software, your infrastructure, and managing your profits. It's a really fun setup that, as the game progresses, it introduces even more mechanics to keep you engaged and earning more money. I was having fun, but after a while, it started getting a little bit tiring from just clicking faces. But then the game presented me with the option to automatize this progress. And it honestly is a blade with two sides. In one side, it makes the progress less tedious and easier to manage, but the game gets progressively more boring and slows down to a crawl. And this was where my biggest gripe happened. The narrative and the gameplay slowed down to a crawl, and nothing was happening. I had to keep upgrading my systems, of course, and generating more wealth, which was fine, but that was mostly it for the story. Nothing was happening. And with nothing really happening and the pacing being off, I just had the game on my second monitor waiting for something to happen. Probably way too accurate because I think this was kind of me role-playing the person at that point. I spent probably an hour like this with a difficulty on medium. So of course, with nothing happening, no emails coming, or even a subversion on the mechanics, I got quite upset and bored. It was not only until like the last 10 minutes of gameplay, after an hour or so of grinding everything, that things started happening and the plot picked up again to present a twist ending. Of course, this wasn't really a surprise because I kind of saw the writing on the wall and the themes being introduced to the game slowly, but it didn't end up being so shocking at all, leaving me a little bit disappointing after being there for like an hour or so. I did run through a problem midway through the story where a node disconnected and I had to pause the game for a few moments and change some settings. And when I came back, the emails, including the one that had the codes to reactivate the network, were all deleted, leaving me soft-locked. I had to reload a previous save, but then that wasted 20 minutes of progress, sadly. So even though the message and the main theme of the game, of which I won't really spoil, is something that I really connected with, and I do think it's a very important subject matter that has to be explored and discussed in different ways, I think that the roads that the game took to get there weren't so great and left me quite bored. I would still recommend the game because the developer seems very motivated to keep the game in a great state, still patching up little things and supporting the small community around it. It has fresh ideas, a bold statement, and a great art design, and overall a wholesome vibe that takes you back to the pre-Y2K era. But the plot, pacing, didn't really convince me, and the gameplay started getting stale after some time. The game is on sale right now for like €5, so if you want to support indie devs with new ideas, I'd say for you to pick it up and play it on the lowest difficulty so you don't encounter so much boredom like I did. Thank you for watching. So I have to apologize, you guys, for my weird and shoddy audio and my weird voice. I am currently on holidays and I don't have my microphone with me, so I'm just using what I have at hand. So I hope the audio isn't so bad. And if you guys enjoyed the video, if you guys enjoyed the game or have something to say, please comment down below. And if you want more reviews like this one, just subscribe, leave a like, and let me know that you like this kind of videos. Thank you, and I see you guys on the next video.